Hi, guys. So you were learning about yesterday the exploration, discoveries of new lands being now the goal of some of these European countries. We had kind of this race going on. We had some of them taking different kind of approaches. Portugal really wanted to trade. Spain wanted to be conquistadors and conquer land and colonize. England and the Dutch will be kind of secondary into the race, but really the English are going to start to fight more with the Spanish for land because they are going to want to colonize as well. The Dutch, again, are going to hang on to trade. And then the French are going to get involved and become, again, colonizers and takeovers of land. And so North and South America will really be divvied up between U.S., which is now North America and South America, will be divvied up between Spain, France, and England. The biggest exchange, though, now that's going to happen, we call the Columbian Exchange. We call it that, obviously named after Christopher Columbus, because now between the Old World and the New World, things will never be the same because of the new crops and plants that they have. So we say flora and fauna, so that's plants and animals, and they are going to be exchanged. So lots of these things are going to be grown in the New World on what we call plantations. Those are large farms that do an abundance of crops and usually have a huge amount of slave labor. The New World is going to bring, so that would be what we consider the United States, North America, South America, beans, cacao, which is kind of like a chocolate, maize, which is corn, peanuts, pineapple, potatoes, pumpkins, squash, sweet potatoes, ever so addictive, yet seem to be necessary tobacco at the time, and turkey. Now, definitely corn was a subsistence kind of thing where you could mash it into meal, make breads with it. So it was a long lasting thing. So very, very valuable. And definitely the tobacco had a high price tag. Now, coming from the old world, so that would include what they would consider to be European countries and the exchanges with Africa that had happened early on in exploration. So we're going to have bananas, obviously not being grown in England, but in Africa. Cattle, chicken, citrus fruits, coffee beans, horses, onions, peaches, pigs, sugarcane, wheat, and olives. Wheat, definitely huge, again, substantial thing that can last a long time, make bread, resources. But I would say your second most valuable thing on this list is horses. Horses had never been seen in the New World. They were a huge force in war, in farming. So horses would definitely be the next most significant thing. Also, unfortunately, there were other exchanges. When the Europeans came in contact with the Native Americans living in the New World, they brought with them what we call pathogens or infectious agents. So things that you get vaccinated for nowadays, like smallpox, measles, whooping cough, influenza, common flu, or diphtheria. So Native Americans didn't have any of the natural immunities built up for this. So when these diseases that, had been in Europe for a long time, yes, we had the Black Death and other plagues, but people had built up resistance. Now we are starting to see these entire groups of people being wiped out just for interacting with these new people. And then the natives brought things like canoes, snowshoes, moccasins, hammocks, all things that were actually going to be very, very useful for these people who had ventured over to the New World who are setting up these colonies. How do I get through snow? How do I get through mountainous areas? How do we get through these small streams? All of those are going to be crucial. Now, if I'm someone who's making the choice of whether or not I'm going to go across the big pond, as they call it, or the Atlantic Ocean, I'm going to need to look at what's going to be the cost. That's not just financial sometimes. It could be lives, could be, chance of health and deteriorating and so forth. And what's going to be the benefit? So what am I really going to gain? Am I going to gain money? Am I going to gain fame? So when all these different, we call it a cost benefit analysis. You should do that, when you were if say you were investing in something. What does it cost me to do it? What's going to be the ultimate benefit? So traders and explorers had to often decide what were these cost risks, were they worth the benefit or the reward? So some of the cost risks were supplies, ships and things, but we had a chance for money, fame, land, new allies, new goods, new chances of religion, for freedom. So do the benefits outweigh the costs? That was up to like the individuals that were willing to make that risk. Okay. So we have, I'm going to move these around a little bit here. Okay. So we have what we call the triangular trade route. And so we have the New World, here to the west. So I'm going to move them over here to the west. Maybe. And then we have the African slaves to the south. And the old world would be considered Europe, but the new world would be considered, again, the Americas. If I can isolate that here, it's being annoying. So I'm going to move it over so it kind of visually looks the same too. Maybe not. Just move it like that. Okay, so the New World's the Americas, Old World's Europe, Africa's beneath it. You can see we have these routes going. What does the Old World have? Not a lot of land, actually, not a lot of usable land, some farming, but really their skill set was making things, manufacturing them. So economically, we have this concept that they needed to make things so that they could trade it with the Easterners of Asia. So Africa, they got their slaves, so they were able to get free workforces. But they needed these raw materials, and the raw materials are in the New World: lumber, corn, things we were just learning about. So when they realized if we can send this slave labor over to help these new colonists be able to produce this raw materials much faster, and we colonize them, and we colonize Africa, the old world makes all the profit, because now they're going to take it and take what was that piece of lumber and turn it into some manufactured gun with metal, wood, and other features to it. So they really were profiting this. We call this mercantilism, where they controlled all of the different facets of the government and the economy. Then as trade increased, banking did too. Then we started getting more to market economies, because people were starting to make money and save it, and they could buy more things. So European population was increasing. They got more and more need for goods. So they wanted more manufactured goods. So European made more sense for them to colonize to get those raw materials for almost free, other than the traveling expenses to get over. And the demand for these businesses got more. And the farmers didn't have to grow as much in Europe, because we could get so much of it now from the New World. And this is going to start capitalism, because we're going to see in the colonies eventually them be able to kind of keep their own economic systems going there, where they could have private businesses between each other in neighboring areas in the old world. But still, when the old world did business with the New World, it was much more mercantilism, being totally controlled by the government. And the market economy eventually let us decide what we want. We had competition, which is a good thing in the marketplace. We want a little bit of government control, and we want a little bit of individualism. And right now we'd be considered more of what we call a mixed economy, because we have some government control and some individual rights to create whatever goods and services they want. All right, so what you guys are going to do next is you're going to leave these notes open. You can watch the video again. You can just put up the actual note sheet. And then I want you to take the Google form quiz on 8.1. This is your last graded assignment ever for Mrs. Gibb in 7th grade. So complete that. And then you will get on Wednesday, kind of a catch-up day, starting our virtual field day. Make sure you check out our posts on Wednesday. Then Thursday, you will be creating, you'll be working on quizzes for some extra credit. You'll also have a chance to take a selfie pic with your freebies, if you have any, to get some extra credit added on to your final grade. Remember, Friday is it. Friday, May 22nd. Last day to turn in work, 3:30 p.m., not a.m. like some of you like to turn your work in. 3:30 p.m. on Friday. All grades are final. So please make ssure you get everything into me. Got questions? Give me a call. Give me a message. Take care, guys. Miss ya.